So, hi Virgo, my name is Chris and this is your January reading 2026. And I'm super happy it's 2026. It's the beginning of 2026, but the energy is subsiding from the old year. Let's just see where this is going. First card, Celtic Cross, I haven't seen it. At the beginning of 2026, right? Let's just say the first 2 weeks or something like that. Be a little cautious, right? The frequencies of the old are still there, but they are subsiding, right? 2025 was kind of a year of hell for most of decent people, I would say. So the Page of Swords is basically telling you you got this, but don't be naive about it, right? 2026 is going to be different. I hope you checked out the yearly reading. I'm going to link the yearly reading at the end of this video. Well, heavy energies in 2025, that's for sure. So I think the first 2 weeks, 6th or 8th, 9th, there's that's the Empress, okay? So having said that, the first, usually 6 days, right? January 6th is when I can't really explain why, but at the beginning, the first 1 or 2 weeks, kind of flooding out of the old shit of 2025, right? So be a little cautious, don't be over enthusiastic in the first week, right? That's the Page of Swords, but hey, there's the Empress, and the Empress is all 4 queens rolled into one. Abundance, you ruling yourself, there's self-mastership in this. You don't command other people. It's not about hierarchy. You know, the emperor would be about the boss, the leader, right? Ideally, not the boss, but the leader, somebody who is in the field, working together with his team, but leading his team. This is the Empress, the female aspect, so the inner aspect. So you're not commanding other people, I should say, but you're commanding and ruling yourself, and that's a beautiful energy. All 4 queens rolled into one. Crossing energy, wonderful. The foundation, maybe a new start, maybe something. This guy is pretty much standing in the desert, and you're going into this garden, right? Lush garden, wonderful. Prosperity, abundance, right? Ruling yourself, and you just trust the universe. You're going to arrive there, even if the first week wasn't exactly wonderful. It wasn't exactly wonderful for me so far. Maybe you're in the same frequency, I don't know. If you're resonating with this channel, chances are that's the case. But there's the Star card, right? Wish fulfilled from the universe. A wish granted from the universe. So you asked for something, you worked for something, and bam, it's happening. So when it starts to happen, when it starts to come in, don't completely, if we went to a long dark night of the soul, yeah, a phase where everything was difficult and dark and challenging. And then finally the pressure subsides. And that's a relief, of course, but don't be over enthusiastic about it. Take it as a humble blessing, right? And keep your good news to yourself. Is that something that makes sense? You develop the mindset of the King of Cups in the past. And when I say the past, I really mean not just December 2025, but probably a longer phase of several years where the energies were just very, very heavy and challenging, as I said. That's just the case, for empaths. There's the Ace of Cups, the King of Cups and the Ace of Cups. Self-respect, self-love, being yourself a friend, finally. And there's recognition here. There is you falling or arriving in your power and so much support from the universe. And that King of Cups energy is this energy where you just, this is not mental strength in the sense of the intellect or the mind, the thinking mind, but a strength or endurance or of the heart, basically, right? Cups energy is emotional energy, and the King of Cups is ruling his own emotions and is knowing how to deal with them. So you're not just aware, that would be the Queen of Cups, where you become aware, fully aware of your inner emotional landscape. And the King of Cups is more this energy where you express it, where you work with it, where you can, even if you feel down, even if you feel challenged, you can handle it. The King of Cups can handle it. It's not just about awareness, but it is about working with your emotional energy. You know, as the Empress, pretty much, you know, ruling your own garden, your own world, your own inner world. And that's the spring, that's the self-love, that's pretty much Philautia, right? That's the channel's name, right? Philautia is this concept of self-love, respecting yourself, not being in one extreme, not being totally altruistic, not being totally egoistic, but keeping it in a balance and really loving yourself, accepting yourself, even with your shadow side, especially with your shadow side. I think the last few years, if you're resonating with this channel, might have been a time where you were confronted with the shadow aspect of yourself, of your inner world, and to love that too, you know, tattvam asi, and that too. Even if you made mistakes, even if there are shadow aspects, guess what? We all have light and shadow in ourselves. And you can only go further into the light, into your own spiritual development, if you fully accept your shadow aspect, right? You go to Mordor. Think of Frodo and Sam and the hero's journey of Lord of the Rings, for example. They go into the Dark Land, into Mordor, and Frodo is pretty much meeting Gollum, which is his shadow aspect. Gollum is basically what he could become if he falls for the ring, right? If he falls for the lust for power and, you know, hatred and all that horrible jazz, low frequency energies. That is within us, right? And we can't negate it, but we can accept it and transcend it and integrate it and really talk to yourself, see yourself as your own friend. We are, especially empathic people, are sometimes incredibly hard on ourselves, right? So be gentle with yourself. There's the Hierophant. It's not just the King of Cups where you have dealing with your own emotional aspect, but here you're teaching something about that. So you might have really learned something, and maybe it's time to, whether you speak to friends or whether you speak to family members, you can apply what you have learned, right? Self-love is a hard lesson. Probably the hardest one, right? Or one of the hardest ones, I don't know. I don't care about any more lessons right now. The one I learned, and for me that was self-love too, right? There's the Three of Cups, the outside position. So you're going to meet or resonate with people you can celebrate with, you can apply this, but there is joy and happiness in this. There's appreciation. Yeah, these are just three dancing guys, right? Girls, actually. And, you know, they're having a good time. So you achieved something. There's mastership in here with the Hierophant, with the, I mean, that's is kind of a special reading here because there is just a lot of good stuff here. The Ace of Cups, the Star card, the King of Cups, the Hierophant, and what is it? The Empress, right? So, wow, that is really a wow reading. And I try not to use the word wow too often. it's kind of tempting because it's kind of clickbaity, right? People like the word wow. But I mean, Ace of Cups, King of Cups, Hierophant, Star card, and the Empress. So there's mastership in here. And now you apply it. Now you bring it into the world, right? You searched for your inner light. And what you found was self-love, self-respect, being yourself a friend, integrating your shadow. And by accepting your shadow, you discover your own light, and that light shines into this world. Six of Pentacles, give and take. The universe is giving you something back. There's the Star card. There's the Scale on this card. The Scale is also found on the Justice card, balancing something out. So if you have been going through the dark night of the soul in the last few years, now it's a brand new day. And as I said, that's the shadow aspect, right? Every now and then, especially in the beginning, the first few days of January, there might still be this energy of exhaustion, right? You've been through a lot, and bottom of the deck, the Ace of Wands. You need to heal yourself, right? And when you achieved something, when you're leveling up in consciousness, and self-love is a big step into this direction. You might have sleepless nights. You might think about and process everything that has happened. And that is a practice in letting go of the old and accepting the new, right? There's the Moon card, subconscious energy, working with your subconsciousness. Chariot and the High Priest, the Empress, right? So the blessings are coming in fast. The universe is on your side. Yeah, there's the Queen of Cups, clarifying the Page of Wands. Star card with Temperance, right? Balance, King of Cups clarified by the Page of Cups. I think the universe is asking you to apply what you have learned, really. And that what you have learned is, there's so much Cups energy here too. It has everything to do with the difficult time that you're still processing. And there's the Three of Cups with the Ace of Cups, loving yourself. So when you love yourself and you're coming from a place of self-respect and being yourself a friend, it's easier to meet the right people because you're just attracting the same frequency, right? If you are, if you're just calm and at peace with yourself, then you're kind of attracting people who are on the same frequency. Go towards your calling confidently. The old chapter of your life, maybe with what you have been struggling in the last few years, it's literally the desert, right? The Page of Wands is literally standing in the desert. There's nothing here. What else would you do with that, right? So go into that role of the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is someone who has learned something very significant, self-love, Ace of Cups. Try to concentrate on that and try to build on that. There's the King of Pentacles with the Three of Cups. There is the Emperor, okay. So there's kind of the switch from the Emperor to the Hierophant. Maybe in your last chapter, could it have been that you kind of tried to be in some sort of leadership position in the sense of hierarchy, working with other people, but you are kind of the boss or the leader, and now it's more working with yourself. So you're going from the Emperor to the Empress. So it's not so much about the outside world, what is happening there, what other people are doing. It's more working on your own and using your own inner garden, right, to create something. There is the Tower clarifying the Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck, right? Ace of Wands is definitively passion. So you got passion for what you have developed. You got the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands. So fire energy and water energy, emotions and passion. Work with both of them. So beautiful. And as I said, the first few days of January might still be a little heavy, right? Maybe the last time the energies of the old circle might give everything they've got before they subside. But these are just a few days, right? These are just a few days. And you might be exhausted. You might think about, oh my God, all that's happening. You know, if the pressure subsides suddenly and things are falling into place, sometimes we have a moment where we just cry, where we just release all the emotional debris of what you have collected in the last few years. And that's part of the healing process. Four of Swords clarifying the Nine of Swords. So sure, you feel what you feel. But Swords energy is thinking energy, intellectual energy. So use your mind to meditate, to do breath work, 1 in, 2 out, right? And then twice as long out. In the last second of it, you could really push it out a little bit, your breath, right? And that's how you use your mind, your thinking mind. You just kind of disciplining it, right? Through meditation, through breath work, and be kind to yourself. You know, it's not like you have to, disciplining is a hard word, but it's kind of a discipline, right? To don't let your mind run amok with worries and, oh my God, that was all so horrible. If you need to cry, if you need to release emotional debris and energy from the old circle that you totally mastered here emotionally, and in literally every respect that is concerning your inner world, right? All 4 queens rolled into one. The Empress with the Chariot, supportive energy. You are arriving in this new circle. 2026 is not going to be another 2024, 2025. This is a complete different frequency. We're coming out of it. It's a new chapter. It's a new frequency, a new energy. Wherever the bird flew, she found trees with no limbs. Audre Lorde. So go confidently into that new chapter. You got everything you need. You got the emotional maturity. You got the support from the universe. You know your stuff. And if you have this Nine of Swords moment where you kind of think, oh my God, what happened, right? That's okay, but make a meditation afterwards, or at the same day when you feel like that, when you're in this thinking mode where you think, oh my God, and you can't sleep, and you think and think and think and recap, you think about what happened and stuff like that. Instead of what's the word? Laying in bed at night and crying. If it happens, right? But do a meditation instead, right? If you can't sleep, do a meditation. That's probably a good advice. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Voltaire. So there was a lot Swords energy, right? Let's just say it how it is. There was a lot of mindfuck energy in the last few years. Very, very toxic energies, deeply toxic energies. And they were testing you. They were not just testing you. They were testing me. They were testing probably most of the people who are resonating with this. You know, and the mindfuck is over. And you have, that's also part of the game here, or part of the achievement or the leveling up in consciousness with the Empress, right? And the Hierophant, let's not forget that. Do not allow anybody to mindfuck you. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Voltaire. So that has a lot to do with standing ambiguity. So if you don't know whether a story is true, you know, it could be this way, it could be that way, but you can't verify or falsify it, right? You just don't know. So instead of worrying about a possible story that might be true or might not be true, just accept the fact that you don't know. And there are a lot of people who try to mindfuck you into believing the bad story, because that would be lowering your frequency. So if you don't know, if you can't verify or falsify something, right, then let go of that thought. That's a possibility. There are many possibilities. You don't know. We don't know. We don't know anything. Very little. A drop compared to the ocean, right? That's what we know, a drop compared to the ocean. And to just be humble enough and wise enough, Hierophant energy, to accept that. We don't know. Shrug your shoulders. So don't imagine dark scenarios, you know, because that is lowering your frequency. That's the mind fuck, making someone believe absurdities. That's kind of a mind fuck, right? Don't do it. If you don't know it, just accept ambiguity. And use your mind not to worry about things that you can't verify or falsify, but use your mind to concentrate on that, what you can do. And what you can do if you're feeling down, and this is just, I'm talking so much about the Nine of Swords, but it's just the outcome here. It's not the outcome, but it's the crown here. So it comes in every now and then. Everything else is just marvelous and wonderful and blessings, blessings, blessings. You got everything you need here to be super successful, super happy. Don't allow anybody to mindfuck you into some horror scenario that you can't even verify or falsify. Very important. And when I talked about these negative energies, right? These very dark energies, right? We can talk about kind of the light, and we can talk about the darkness, and then there's a gray area in between, or gray frequency or energy in between. So one is challenging you, which might actually be a good thing, and one is really trying to bring you down, just for the sake of bringing you down. These energies are there, and just like death and life, you know, death implies life and life implies death, but death implies life as well. We don't like death. We don't like the darkness. We don't like destruction. We don't like negation. We don't like mindfucks. We don't like all of that, right? We would like to live in a constant happy state, but that's just not how this works, right? And to accept that, what you cannot change, even if it's really dark, really destructive, really rotten, right? These energies are there, and if you fight them, you just give them more energy. That's Hierophant energy, right? That requires a lot of self-love, self-respect, radical acceptance, just as it is, right? And then make the best out of it. And you got so much here, right? And that's the quote here: learn to look with an equal eye upon all beings and energies, I would add, seeing the one in all, seeing God in all. It is all an expression of the divine. Tattvam Asi. And that too, even dog shit on the sidewalk, even really, really antagonistic, dark, rotten people. They are there. We can name them dark and rotten. But if you spend your day agonizing about them, you're not in this frequency, and you are in that frequency. Self-love, self-care. Use your mind not to worry or catastrophize. Use your mind to meditate, do breath work, create what you want to create. And you got everything you need for that. And that's pretty much all I got. I'm going to do one Blue Angel Oracle deck card. Gateway. Honestly, I'm Virgo too, and I did a reading for myself before I did this public reading, and it's kind of the same, really. That's why it's so deep even for me, myself, right? Gateway number 38, Evolution. Observe this image closely. It depicts a portal that leads you up golden steps of light to an arc. Once you reach this point, you ascend further to an even higher realm of consciousness. The spiritual journey is occurring within you. Empress energy within you. Right now, you're ascending to higher planes of awareness, wisdom, and love. This is a significant point in your soul's evolution, a rare and major event. It is an initiation through which you are eternally blessed. There are cycles of great wisdom and love from this point on. And as I said, if the pressure subsides after you have been under that pressure for quite a long time, sometimes you just think, what the fuck, right? And you have every right to think that, but you also have the wisdom and the discipline not to stay there in that frequency. And just because I talked so much about the Nine of Swords, I just show you again what you're dealing with here in January, even if the first few days were a little 2025, energy is still around, subsiding very quickly. Gone. Okay? That's what you got. Hierophant, Star card, Ace of Cups, Empress, King of Cups. That's all I got. I hope it resonates with you. If it does, share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and hopefully see you next time. Now, Budaya, my friend. Ciao.